Let me remind you that these are just averages from the 2024 Census Bureau because you have your own story to tell. Personal finance is personal for a reason. And you always need to have 2 million or $3 million to retire early? Not necessarily, because it always depends on your annual expenses and the number of passive income streams and you'll have besides your investments. However, when it comes to calculating your FIRE number, you have to focus on your expenses, not your income, but your annual expenses. And I know you're thinking about how to replace your income, but instead, it's actually the expenses you have now that matters to your financial independence number, right? So first, you need to calculate your annual expenses, and you can do this by breaking them down into non-discretionary and discretionary expenses. So what are non-discretionary expenses? Well, they're the basic stuff you have to pay for. You have to prioritize them by groceries, housing, utilities, transportation, basic insurance, communication, clothes, your vehicle, and those essential annual subscriptions. Now, multiplying that annual number by 25 and you'll get a baseline number. So if you spend $10,000 a year on groceries, and if you multiply that by 25, you're going to need at least $250,000 invested to be financially independent with only your groceries using the 4% withdrawal rate, which means that you can technically have your groceries paid by your investments and not by your 9 to 5 job. That makes sense so far, right? Then there's discretionary. This is where the fun stuff and the spending happens. And these are non-essential subscriptions like Netflix, HBO Max, and all that. Eating out at a restaurant, going to, I don't know, Thai restaurant or Olive Garden, something like that. And entertainment, going to the concerts or going to a sporting event, annual credit card fees, travel, pets, gifts, that second property that you're dreaming of, and anything else that you do not need. Again, you can add them all up together, then multiply by 25. And so you could have $40,000 a year in discretionary expenses because that's how much you want to spend on entertainment, travel, and concert tickets every year. So you would need an additional $1 million to pay for those discretionary expenses on top of the non-discretionary expenses.